So we're going to head up this little trail about, probably maybe 100 yards, 150 yards. There's two boats that you see from the highway. They're side by side. One's going this way and the other one's going that way. If you watch the video that was posted, the guys are standing in front of the boat that's closest to the water. We can't get down in front of those because they got to the boat from the kayak, which they took from 5 Fathom Hole. And doing a little bit of research, the boats were number 46 and 56, and they were built in Houston back in 1943. And just to give you a feel for how quickly things happened back then, the boats were laid when they first started building the keel, like June 6th, I think it was. 21 days, the boat was launched. And then about another 25 days, it was commissioned. So between the launch, they did a little bit of sea trials, and then the Navy took it over. This boat's called a LSM, which is a landing ship medium. There was 556 built. There's another larger boat that's about 50% larger, which was a landing ship tank that's not here, and that's what we first thought it was. And there was 1,100 of these boats built in like 2 years. And this boat has a very shallow draft on the front because it's built to land on the beaches. And these two boats, one of them was in Okinawa, and which is one of the first Japanese islands. And the other one was Iwo Jima, and Iwo Jima's famous for the picture you see with the soldiers putting the flag up on top of the mountain. That I think was staged after the event. These boats were basically built to be disposed of afterwards. And I assume these boats probably had huge ballast tanks to keep them stable because they didn't travel very fast. These boats were built in Houston, so they probably went the Suez Canal, or not Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, and then across the Pacific. It would have taken probably a month. I think the top speed's about 15 miles an hour. And these same boats that were built would go to Normandy and Italy and the like. And it's interesting because I've been following this podcast that I've been listening to about World War II. And our grandparents really didn't think the war would be over until it was over. But in fact, after Pearl Harbor and as early as 1943, the tide of the war changed. And it's mainly due to the fact of the economic might of North America, mainly the United States, but Canada. The amount of material that could be built so quickly. And the countries that were on the other side of the war just didn't have the infrastructure to sustain it. And so it's kind of neat history. These boats, you can see very faintly, it says Coastal Transport. That was the name of the company that owned tugs here. I don't know if it morphed into Urban Towing. These boats were bought as war surplus, and they probably had their engines stripped out and some of the superstructure stripped out. And they were used to haul pulpwood and wood from Maine and Nova Scotia. And then they were beached here. Now, Jerry made the comment when we were here last week that there was all kinds of unnatural rock leading down to the boats. And I found out that the goal was eventually to break these boats, but it never happened. And if you were to look on the internet, you'd see these boats. They had a center stack and like a wheelhouse that was sort of in the center of the boat, and that was stripped off. They probably stripped it off and when they were getting ready to use it for barges. And we'll go up here, and then we can look around there. You get right up by the boats. In fact, we were sort of inside, the boats. They're all silted up, but the ground was fairly firm. And you can walk beyond the boats and look back at it. Just step carefully on the marsh grass. It certainly supported us, but there's 30 of us today, so you might get a little bit mucky. And then we'll come back here, and then we'll look at the boats here.
34.
Let's go.